especially if I make this a run-on sentence. Okay. Actually, I was kind of right. I think I see Andy's knight f3 on the board as soon as I finish my sentence.
Yeah, you won that bet there. So okay, we're going to see. So Tani there on 2 out of 2 plays white. He's the London system. And Aaron Mendes, he did lose his first game, but a strike back. And we're seeing a Lopez from Faustino and from Andy Woodward. Well, it's some kind of Fianchetto system. Mike, take your pick.
Let's show Tani some love. I mean, after all, he is a published author. My name is Tani, and I believe in miracles. Go pick up your copy. So far, it's been good chess, not miracles. He's 2 out of 2. So we're going to jump right in to Tani's game. If you don't know the story of Tani, it is one of the most inspiring in chess. They were refugees, his family living in a homeless shelter. He joined up with his chess club, Impact Coaching Network, gave him a free scholarship. And you know what? He actually did so many puzzles on ChessKid that his coach looked at the data and said, who is this kid doing so many puzzles on ChessKid? And that's one of the ways that he stood out. They got him some extra coaching. He became New York State K3 champion. The rest, as they say, is history. Go pick up the book if you want to read that history. But he is now at a fantastic prep school in New York. And in fact, his school won the high school championship last year, Columbia Grammar. Shout out to them. By the way, fun fact, Tani and Megan are teammates, even though they're like 5 years apart, because Megan plays up into the high school section to get extra challenge. Okay, enough biography. Let's talk about the London. This is like a more traditional London setup. So Yovi, hopefully you can impart some knowledge here.
Yeah, here I was looking at it, kind of went into some kind of Gruenfeld Slav there from black, and white continued with this pawn structure, pawn pushes, with something I call the big clamp, which is when you get c5 in, and the whole idea is just to overrun the queen side, take as much space as possible. Primarily, if you go b5, a4 is going to come. And once you create that weakness, that open line, you start to infiltrate with the heavy pieces. And black's only break, which is to go e5, really isn't that big of a deal, because there you just drop back with the bishop and you maintain that tension in the center. And now black is going to be forced to go on the defensive on the queen side. So here you're going to see castles, you're going to see a rook come to a1. There's going to be a lot of First, it's going to be doubling on the A line before white even thinks about going A takes B5.
I was actually seriously wondering when the bishop was back on C8 if white could take, and then play bishop takes and get the knight to B5, because knight C7 was pretty evil threat. However, as I often tell my students, if you can get a great position without sacrificing, why not do the risk-free solution? And if Ryo Chen is the same kind of economics thought process that I am, he will also agree with me when it comes to finance. This is a no-risk way of getting a good position because white just has the advantage of the space over there on the queen side. Let's involve our chat a little bit while we're watching this game. We asked each player who is their favorite player. And so I'm going to ask you, what was Aaron Mendes' response? Who is Aaron Mendes' favorite player? But I'm going to give you a hint. Think about the linguistics nature of Aaron's country. That is your small hint, okay? I wouldn't just leave you in the dark. You got a pretty good hint there. Who is Aaron Mendes' favorite player? Chat, first person to say it gets their name announced on the air. The knight goes back to A2, and it looks like if the knight takes, oh baby, there's going to be a passed pawn somehow on C5 marching down the board very quickly.
Yes, and it's going to be problem central. And guess what? Well, he had the chance to actually go b6 and get himself a protected pass pawn. He chose not to do that, just biding the time, going for the b pawn. And yeah, it's an interesting decision. He has perhaps this idea of just simply going first up b6, knight takes pawn, and is not afraid of allowing a queen for 2 rooks. Piece trade. And so knight jumps into e4. Why not take the pawn? Why not be greedy?
I kind of agree. He did take it. By the way, queen versus 2 rooks is one of the hardest things in chess to teach because it's almost a 50-50. And if you don't believe me, there was once an 8-hour world championship game that was queen versus 2 rooks. Shout out to Dubai 2021. So it was one of the hardest ChessKid videos I ever recorded because it's so hard to give you an exact rule or anything in that position. But with that passed B pawn, I think that might have favored the white pieces. But anyway, that is water under the bridge because white took with the queen. So there's no chance for this queen to trade for 2 rooks, at least not yet. Oh, we have a sacrifice on c5. That feels like a desperation sacrifice, but there are some problems on this rook. Keep an eye on that.
Yeah, and I wonder whether this comes as a surprise for Tani, because that kind of sacrifice kind of hits you out of nowhere. And we're seeing knight to b4 only move in the position, because I think it's very natural to kind of go bc6. Just a trade, but instead knight to b4, just piling on the pressure. And b takes d6, and with that, the evaluation bar starts going down.
But he finds right idea. He does not take the knight and have his rook get captured because he probably would have lost the pinned knight on a2. So both players saw that, which is why white has gone for this line. Now, eventually the rook is going to move and the knight's going to hang. You could even consider moves like rook takes bishop, followed by pawn takes. It's a thought. Is it the best idea? Maybe not. Maybe there's other good ideas.
It's a tempting one as well, especially when you're under the minute. You're thinking, hang on a second, how can I make life easy for myself? And getting those two pieces for the rook. But instead attacking, this rook on e8, rook to d8 is a nice move. The rook didn't have too many squares. Where else now? What is going to be the continue? Rook a7 with pearl on the pressure, just attacking the e-pawn. It's also possible to jump in with the knight to c6. Try and get the bishop pair.
And a quick
white
shout
definitely
out
has
to
the advantage. Yeah.
Just Have Fun in the Twitch chat understood the hint to my question. Canada is a francophone country, and Just Have Fun said it's either Ali Rays or MVL. I'm going to give you credit because you understood the nature of my hint. It is MVL. MVL would shine in a position like this. He loves crazy complications, and that's what we have here. Although Tani is getting the best of all these complications. Pretty funny how he's just left the knight there for a million years, but it was finally time to capture the knight, and now it looks like an extra piece, a clean extra piece, now an extra pawn. More time. Tani looks to go to 3-0, his best start ever in this event. By the way, his final year of eligibility. And Tani, south of the border, takes care of his north of the border friend Aaron with a win, 3-0 for Tani.
But take a look at what's happening in the other games.